Here's the thing with the left, at least they all stick together, don't they? They're all there backing each other up, adding to the pylons on conservative thinkers on social media and elsewhere.
A great example of this would be when Gary Lineker was suspended by the BBC for comparing the Tories to the Nazis, and all his colleagues went off in a huff in solidarity with him.
Unlike us on the right, where we quite regularly throw each other under the bus at any given opportunity. And I think that's where we differ from the left, because we point out we have no fear whatsoever in telling fellow conservatives when they're wrong. And it's true there are conservative social media commentators who aren't really what they seem. And it's no different really in the celebrity world. Look at GB News at the moment. That organisation have literally thrown 3 presenters under the bus in order to save its own skin and appease the left. And the only people coming to the defence of these 3 people are working class social media, social commentators such as myself and others. And I still find it strange that 2 of the biggest names on GB News, or 2 of the most popular, have yet to do the same and come to these 3 people's defence. Yes, I'm talking about Nigel Farage and even Neil Oliver, not a peep from him. I honestly would have thought that Neil Oliver would have had the courage of his convictions and did like a walk-off protest, because that's the kind of vibe I get from him. After all, he does talk a good game with his monologues, which I completely agree with.
Neil Oliver is always banging on about the need for a revolution in this country, we need an uprising and so forth, and yet the perfect opportunity for him to show his own convictions and lead by example. 3 of his colleagues have been suspended for free speech and he does nothing, which makes me think that Neil Oliver is probably all mouth and no trousers.
And as for Nigel Farage, well, Nigel Farage is Nigel Farage, isn't he? Now these 3 presenters, Dan Wootton, Lawrence Fox and Calvin Robinson, they've been getting abuse anyway simply because of who they are, what they do, where they work, which television programme they work for, etc. and so on. But ever since the 3 of them got suspended, the one who gets the worst abuse is Calvin Robinson. Now the guy comes across as one of the most nicest gentlemen on television. He doesn't spew hate or goes on about revenge or any vitriol. There's nothing like that from him whatsoever. And yet the hatred the guy is getting on social media, simply because he's stuck up for his 2 colleagues who are suspended before him, I think it's just sickening. And it's also racist, and I hate using that word because the word racism has been watered down by the left in recent years because they use it to sling dirt at anyone these days. Literally anyone or anything now can be a racist if you displease them, even the weather. And it's quite bizarre. Anyway, not only have the tolerant left attacked Calvin Robinson simply because of his demographic, and by the way, the guy is half white, and so effectively he is mixed heritage, but they are also mocking his religion. I've seen a few high-profile left-wing woke celebrity Twitter accounts going after his Christian beliefs because he is a deacon of the Catholic Church. For example, former England rugby player and all-round left-wing crybaby tosspot Brian Moore retweeted Calvin Robinson's tweet where he said he'd been suspended by GB News and said, and I quote, "You see, there is a God," unquote. Now I doubt very much these tolerant progressives would say the same thing if Calvin Robinson was a cleric of another faith, in particular Jewish or Islamic. But there we go, it's swings and roundabouts with the leftists on social media, I'm afraid. It depends on what opinions you have. Even a Black Lives Matter supporting solicitor here in the UK decided to join in with the pylon on Calvin Robinson by presenting him with a special award, which was just, I mean, how this thing is still up on X or Twitter is beyond me. And I really wish I could show it to you on here, but my channel would be gone if I did. but it was a certificate with Calvin Robinson's face and name on it, calling him every racist, anti-black slur going I've ever heard of. So the left are quite literally attacking Calvin Robinson's immutable characteristics because they simply don't like him because of what he says. And in more likelihood they expect him to be an anti-white, anti-British history activist like Dr. Shola Moss, whom they can control just like her. So there we go. I do wonder sometimes why the hell I'm on Twitter still, because the place is an absolute cesspit. I mean, just the other day a pair of Welsh nationalists declared that somehow I was in the Territorial Army, then I was in the Parachute Regiment, and I left because I didn't like being called Taffy. And they also think I served in a regiment called the Royal Lizards for some reason. I mean, these people are quite literally a parody of themselves. And I promise you folks, should Wales be unlucky enough to get independence from the UK, and ironically join the EU, it'll be these idiots who'll be the first to cross the border into England, because the Welsh economy will quite literally go to rat shit. And there we go. I diverted a bit at the end, but you get my gist. I hope you like. Please let me know what you think in the comments, and until the next time, have a great Sunday, and Roger Trout.